Heartwarming moment, little girl discovers her single dad's unexpected life-changing repair. You won't believe what happens next. Lily stood at the window, her wide eyes glued to the glittering parade of cars cruising down Maple Street. No wonder they were all the talk at school. Each car sparkled under the bright Michigan sun, colors dancing in the air like confetti. She felt a pang in her chest. All her friends gushed about their shiny rides, while the old Chevy in her dad's shop remained hidden, tucked away like a forgotten dream. With her heart pounding, she longed to help her single dad, Tom, rise above the whispers that echoed through the neighborhood. Tom was a man of rugged hands and gentle smiles, a mechanic who kept their small auto shop alive with sweat and determination. Memories haunted the place, lingering like a familiar song. It was where laughter had once bounced off the walls, especially on Fridays, when he and his dad would tinker with that very Chevy. Now, the shop echoed only with his sighs. Lily overheard the whispered competition among kids more than once. Their new cars, their gleaming adventures, and her dad's struggles began to weigh on her young shoulders. Determined, she crafted a plan. As the annual local car show drew near, excitement buzzed through town. This is it, she thought. We can bring the old Chevy back to life. She enlisted the help of Mr. Davis, an old veteran mechanic who loved Tom like a second son. When she shared her vision, his eyes twinkled with nostalgia, reminiscent of a time when hard work could turn dreams into reality. Before she could celebrate the plan, disaster struck the day before the show. The Chevy's engine sputtered and died, filling the shop with a haunting silence. Tom paced, his heart heavy with self-doubt and disappointment. The weight of his father's legacy pressed down on him. What if he couldn't provide for Lily? What if he couldn't restore that car? He felt lost, teetering on the edge of despair, but Lily, with her indomitable spirit, refused to give in. She rallied her friends, who understood the essence of community. They held a fundraiser without Tom's knowledge, gathering their allowances and asking their parents for support. This is for the Chevy. For Mr. Green. They chirped, igniting a spark of hope. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The day of the car show loomed closer. When the community arrived at the shop, it was like a scene crafted from a storybook. Neighbors gathered, ready to lend their hands, recalling Tom's father and all he stood for. They worked together, laughter ringing in the air, oil-stained hands rising to the occasion, and for a moment, everything felt alive again. As the sun dipped low, shimmering light danced across the Chevy. Heart racing, Lily joined her dad outside. The moment they rolled the car out for the show, a hush fell. Nervous glances turned into gasps of awe. Applause erupted, echoing their trials and the strength of a community bound together by love, support, and the legacy of dreams. But as they stood in that spotlight of warmth and appreciation, a single question gnawed at Tom's heart: would this be enough to build the life he desired for Lily? As the applause faded into a soft murmur, Tom stood beside the revived Chevy, pride swelling in his chest. But alongside the joy was an uncomfortable tug. How could he face the townsfolk, the memories tied to his father, if he still didn't know how to navigate the challenges ahead? Lily, beaming with excitement, tugged at his sleeve, her enthusiasm pulling him from his thoughts. Dad! Everyone loved it. They can't stop talking about it. Her eyes sparkled, mirroring the car's new paint job. Yeah, kiddo, it's something, isn't it? He forced a smile, but the doubts still clung like shadows. With the event now behind them, the community began to dissipate. Neighbors patted Tom on the back, sharing stories of how they had grown up with that old Chevy, their voices a balm for his weary heart. Each story reminded him of the warmth that had once filled the shop, yet something was still missing. That evening, after the last car had left and the sun set in hues of orange and purple, Lily and Tom sat on the front porch, the remnants of the day's excitement lingering in the air. She leaned against him, her head resting on his shoulder. Do you think, maybe we could do it every year? She asked, her voice laced with hope. Maybe turn the shop into a car show tradition? Tom chuckled softly, the idea stirring something deep inside him. I like that idea a lot, Lily. But I think we got a bit of work to do before we can make it a tradition. What do you mean? She asked, sitting upright, a frown creasing her forehead. I mean, this show was great, but turning the shop around isn't just about one event. It's about keeping that spirit alive every day. We need to make this a real business, a legacy, not just a memory. Your grandpa, he once had dreams of big things for this place. Lily's eyes widened with understanding. But what if people didn't come? What if we can't fix things? Tom placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, feeling the depth of her concern. We start small, together. We can learn and grow. That's what your grandpa did and what I want to do for you. That night, filled with dreams and plans, they drifted into a peaceful sleep. Tom's rest was interrupted by twisted reflections, visions of what could come next. Minutes turned into hours as he wrestled with his own fears of failure. The next morning, while the sky was still painted with dawn's early light, he woke with a newfound determination. He rushed to find Lily, his heart racing. Hey, I've got an idea. Just then, a knock echoed through the shop. It surprised both of them. They turned to find Mrs. Henderson from across the street standing there, her expression a mix of eagerness and nervousness. Tom. Can I have a word? The moment felt heavy, filled with promise and uncertainty. What could she possibly want? As Tom opened the door wider, all too aware that every encounter held the power to change their future, he couldn't shake the feeling that this could be a turning point. Of course, Mrs. Henderson. What's on your mind? With a deep breath, she began to speak. Tom's heart thudded, anticipation coursing through him. Whatever it was, he sensed it would be the catalyst for everything he and Lily needed. Mrs. Henderson shifted nervously from one foot to the other, her hands gripping the strap of her purse. She looked at Tom, her eyes bright yet troubled. Tom, it's about the community. You know how we've all been talking about the old days? How we used to gather for car shows and barbecue cookouts. I think you've sparked something in us again. Tom's pulse quickened. You mean the car show? People enjoyed it? It's more than that, she continued, her voice growing stronger, filled with newfound confidence. There's a need for connection, Tom. We've all felt it. Since the factory closed, it's been hard to find reasons to come together. You brought back memories, and I believe we can do something bigger. What do you have in mind? His curiosity piqued, along with apprehension. Mrs. Henderson took a breath, gathering her ideas. What if we organized a series of events at your shop? Not just for cars but for families, too. A market day, a classic movie night, even a charity barbecue, something that brings everyone back. Tom looked down, picturing the shop filled with laughter and music. His stomach tightened as the vision battled with his doubts. But what if it all falls flat? What if no one shows up? I don't want to disappoint anyone again. Tom, she paused, kindness softening her tone. You just brought that Chevy back to life. You showed us what's possible when you put your heart into something. Let us take that spirit and channel it. The community is ready for this. He glanced at Lily, who watched with wide, hopeful eyes. What do you think, kiddo? Is this something we can manage? Lily nodded vigorously. Yeah, Dad. We can do it together. I can help with flyers and set up a garage sale. We can even have a lemonade stand. A smile broke through Tom's reservations. The image of his father came rushing back, reminding him of how much he believed in community. It was about empowerment, connection, and transformation. Wasn't that what he wanted for Lily? Okay, he said slowly, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. Let us give it a shot. But we'll need a lot of help. You won't be alone. Mrs. Henderson interjected, her expression brightening. I'll rally neighbors. They'll be eager to pitch in. We can build some momentum together. A shiver of excitement raced through Tom. He could almost hear the echo of his father's laughter in the shop. As ideas fluttered among them, they began to sketch a dream of reconnecting the town. Everyone putting in their 2 cents, suggestions flying like confetti in the air. But then a shadow crossed Tom's face. What if the plan was too ambitious? What if expectations were unreal? We have a lot to figure out, he murmured, a twinge of doubt still lurking. Mrs. Henderson smiled, an understanding twinkle in her eye. Just take the first step, Tom. You'll be surprised where it takes you. Feeling the weight of her words, Tom nodded. But he couldn't shake the uneasy thought that weighing it all down were the memories of loss and disappointment that still haunted him. The joy of the day felt fragile. As they began to make plans, laughter gained momentum, but something deep inside Tom still felt restless. Lily, sensing her dad's hesitation, squeezed his hand. It's going to be great, Dad. Just like the car show. In that moment, a flicker of hope ignited in Tom. Maybe this was a chance to truly honor his father's legacy, to create a space where memories could be made anew. But as they moved forward, he felt the lingering pressure of what was yet to come. Could he truly build something worthy? The more they planned, the more anxious he grew, burdened by the thought of facing not just the community but the weight of expectations. With determination flickering like a flame, he silently promised himself to push forward. But he couldn't shake the uncertainty that lay heavy on his heart, wondering if they were truly ready for this new chapter. Just then, a loud crash came from behind the shop, shattering the excitement like glass. What was that? Tom's heart raced. Lily jumped to her feet, her wide eyes reflecting panic. Was this merely a minor setback? Or a portent of what was to come as they ventured into this unknown territory? Tom's heart hammered in his chest as he exchanged worried glances with Lily and Mrs. Henderson. Let us check it out, Tom said, trying to sound braver than he felt. They hurried toward the noise, their footsteps echoing on the concrete floor of the shop. As they rounded the corner, Tom's breath caught. A stack of old tires lay scattered, having toppled over from the shelf that had held them. It looked like nothing major, but the scattered mess felt like a wave that crashed over Tom's determination, pulling him back to his doubts. Lily, can you grab me that broom? He asked, his voice steadier than he felt. Sure. She replied, relieved at the chance to help. She darted off to fetch it. Meanwhile, Mrs. Henderson bent down, picking up one of the tires. See? Just a little bump in the road. We can fix this, she said, her tone warm and reassuring. Tom forced a smile, but inside, a storm brewed. It's not just the tires, he replied, more harshly than he intended. What if we set everything up and no one comes? What if I let everyone down again? Tom, Mrs. Henderson said gently, meeting his gaze. You've already brought hope back to the community. You've given people something to rally around. That's worth everything. Just then, Lily returned with the broom, her small hands gripping the handle tightly. Here, Dad. She lifted her chin, her confidence igniting the air between them. Tom took the broom and, as he began to sweep, he couldn't help but notice how strong yet delicate her spirit was. It reminded him that hope often comes in the smallest packages. Thanks, sweetheart, he said, softened by her unwavering faith. With each tire he lifted back onto the shelf, a wave of resolve washed over him. Maybe this small setback was a reminder. It wasn't just about the plans or the turnout. It was about the connections he was fostering through laughter, shared meals, and memories. Instead of worrying about what could go wrong, let us focus on what could go right, Tom said, surprising himself with the strength in his voice. Yes. Lily chimed in, jumping as she always did when she was excited. We'll make it fun. Like a big party. Exactly, Mrs. Henderson added, a smile spreading across her face. And parties often have a few surprises. Let us embrace the unknown. As they regrouped, Tom felt a lightness he hadn't expected. Maybe this task was more than just bringing the community together. It was equally about finding peace within himself. He could picture families coming together, sharing stories, laughter, and food, not just cars. The energy shifted as they resumed planning, backbiting worries dancing away like dust in the air. Later, around the workshop's cluttered table scattered with notes and ideas, Tom's phone buzzed. It was a message from an old friend, someone he hadn't heard from in years. "Hey, is that car show coming up? Thinking about bringing the kids." A warmth spread through him. He replied, excitement bubbling at the surface. As the evening light faded, Tom could feel the excitement pulse in the small workshop. They even began jamming up ideas for a talent show that could highlight local musicians, just like his father used to enjoy on warm summer nights. But just as things began to take shape, another crash echoed through the shop. This time, it came from the far side, where a toolbox fell off a shelf. "What now?" Tom muttered, feeling the weight of nerves push against his heart once more. Lily squinted her eyes, studying the dark corner. "Maybe it's just trying to tell us something," she said, half serious but hopeful. Tom took a deep breath, a mix of frustration and amusement surfacing. Or it's really clumsy. Yet deep down, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was a sign. The universe was testing him. With the community event lurking in the air, he caught a flicker of fear and excitement swirling within the unknowns. Could they really pull it all together? What awaited him beyond the shadows? Looking at Lily's eager face and Mrs. Henderson's reassuring smile, one thought filled his mind. Maybe this is just the beginning, and as they began to clean up again, Tom couldn't help but wonder just what adventures lay ahead. Tom's heart raced as he glanced at Lily, who was still staring at the corner where the toolbox had fallen. Her expression was a mixture of curiosity and determination, and it fueled his own resolve. He shook his head, trying to dismiss his worries about the event. The community gathering wasn't just about cars, it was about connection and rebuilding bonds that had frayed over time. "All right, everyone," he said, trying to rally their spirits. "Let us tidy up and get back to planning." As they began picking up the scattered tools and organizing the space, he felt a sense of purpose swell within him. Each tool returned to its right place felt like a step toward his goal. Lily grabbed a wrench and held it up like a trophy. "Look, I found the winner." She grinned, and Tom couldn't help but laugh. Her lightheartedness was infectious, reminding him of why he had embarked on this project in the first place. It wasn't just a car show, it was an opportunity for families to share laughter and joy. As they worked, Mrs. Henderson shared stories of past events, her voice steady and comforting. "You know, Tom, the last time we held a community gathering like this was years ago. I still remember the energy, the happiness in the air. Kids running around, music echoing, families dancing. It was magical." Tom paused, feeling a knot of warmth in his chest. He could picture it. Picture families at his workshop, filled with light, laughter, and the smells of barbecue and freshly baked pies. "Let us put together a plan that includes everyone," he suggested, excitement brewing in his voice. "Music for the kids, a car showcase, and maybe even a bake-off?" "Definitely a bake-off!" Lily exclaimed, jumping with excitement. "I'll help you with that, Dad." Tom felt a swell of pride as he looked at her. Here was his little girl, full of ambition and energy, and he was determined to give her and their community something to look forward to. As they jotted down ideas, Tom's phone buzzed again. Another message, this time from Jamie, one of his closest friends. "Hey man, I'm on board for the car show. Do you need help setting up?" "Looks like old friends are showing interest," Tom said, smiling. "The more, the merrier, right?" The workshop felt charged, buzzing with energy as they tossed around ideas. But hovering in the back of Tom's mind was the nagging doubt. What if the turnout didn't meet expectations? What if it all fell apart? He caught himself just as the thoughts crept in. "No," he whispered under his breath. "Not this time." Stubbornly, he folded the piece of paper with potential activities and tucked it in his pocket. He needed to wear that piece of paper like armor, shielding him from despair. "Let us dive headfirst into this," he encouraged, glancing at Lily and Mrs. Henderson, who nodded enthusiastically. A shadow flickered across the workshop door, the sun setting, casting long silhouettes that danced lightly on the concrete. But the fading light didn't bring darkness, it brought a promise of something new. A soft breeze rustled the papers on the table, echoing like whispers of encouragement. As they started to pack up for the night, Tom caught a glimpse of the calendar hanging on the wall. The date for the event was circled in red, a reminder that their dreams were just a few days away. He could almost feel the excitement right beneath the surface. Then a loud crash rattled through the shop once again, prompting Tom's heart to leap into his throat. What now? He thought. This time, curiosity tingled in his stomach. Lily peered into the darkness, eyes sparkling with mischief. Maybe the universe is telling us to hurry up and get to the fun part. Tom turned to her, a smile breaking across his face. Or it's telling me that I really need to clean this place up. As they began to clear out, his mind raced. What if this last obstacle was the push they needed? What if they faced it head on, this event would be everything they dreamed it could be? The sound of laughter echoed in the air, a beacon of what was ahead. And just as the shadows danced playfully around them, Tom felt a spark ignite in his heart. We'll face whatever comes next, together. But as they turned to leave the workshop, a shadow at the door caught his eye. A figure loomed just outside, watching them closely. Who could it be, and what did they want? Tom's heart raced again as he took a step closer to the door. The figure outside was still lingering, concealed in the darkness, a stark contrast to the warm glow of the workshop. He squinted, trying to make out any familiar features, but the evening shadows played tricks. Dad, who is it? Lily whispered, her wide eyes reflecting a mix of fear and excitement. I don't know, sweetheart. Let us keep our cool. Tom took a deep breath, trying to shake off the unease creeping through him. He'd faced tough situations before, but this felt different, almost ominous. The figure shifted slightly, drawing closer to the edge of the light. Tom's pulse quickened. Just as he was about to call out, a familiar voice broke through the silence. Tom. It's me, Ryan. Tom's shoulders relaxed as he recognized his old friend, Ryan, the guy who used to race with him in high school and had been a driving force in the community's earlier gatherings. Man, you scared me, he said, relief washing over him. What are you doing here? Ryan stepped into the light, his face lit up with a smile that immediately reminded Tom of the days when they were young and carefree. Heard about the community event. I wanted to pitch in and see if I could lend a hand. Figured you could use some extra muscle with everything coming up. Lily's excitement bubbled over. Are you going to help with the cars? I can't wait. That's the plan, kiddo. Ryan chuckled, kneeling to her level. You've got to show me your favorite car models. I hear your dad is pretty good at fixing things up. Tom watched as they exchanged playful banter, the tension in his shoulders easing. This was the kind of connection he had hoped for, the reason behind all the meticulous planning. It looks like we might actually pull this off, he thought as he glanced back at the calendar. Seriously, Tom, Ryan said, his tone shifting more serious. You've got to know how important this is for everyone. The community has missed this. We all miss these moments together. Tom nodded, feeling the weight of those words. Each word landed with purpose, reminding him of what they were trying to achieve. It's not just about the cars, it's about us, bringing everyone back together. As Ryan helped gather the remaining tools, they began to share ideas for the event, bouncing off each other like they used to. Laughter filled the workshop once again, and gradually, that initial spark transformed into a flame of enthusiasm. But just as things were looking brighter, Tom's phone buzzed yet again. Frowning at the sudden distraction, he quickly glanced at the screen. It was a message from Jamie, but it wasn't just about helping set up. Tom, I need to talk. Meet me at the diner tonight? Confusion churned in his stomach. Jamie had always been a reliable ally, but suddenly, the urgency in his message felt heavy. Everything okay? Lily asked, her brow furrowing as she saw the change in her dad's demeanor. Yeah, just something I need to take care of, Tom replied, trying to smile for her sake. Yet, doubts started to creep back in. Why would Jamie want to meet in secrecy? What could be so urgent that it couldn't wait until after the community gathering? Dad! Lily snapped him back to the moment. Are we still going to bake cookies for the bake-off? Of course. He forced a smile, trying to shake off his worries. They needed to keep the atmosphere light. As the thoughts swirled in his mind, Tom felt a reassuring squeeze from Lily. It ignited a fire within him. No matter what was waiting for him at the diner, he couldn't let anything spoil this. They were in this together, and he'd face whatever was lurking, head on. "Let us get back to planning," he said, injecting confidence into his voice. But the nagging feeling lingered. What did Jamie have to say that could change everything? As the laughter started anew, the shadows outside shifted again, casting doubt and anticipation. This gathering meant everything, and Tom had to be ready for whatever challenge awaited him. What revelation awaited him at the diner that could shake the foundation of their plans? The sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the workshop in a golden hue as the evening approached. The ambience felt comforting, yet the looming uncertainty nagged at Tom's mind like a persistent itch. He pushed it aside, focusing on his daughter and Ryan, whose laughter filled the space. "Okay, everyone. What's next on the agenda?" Tom declared, trying to steer the attention away from his inner turmoil. He grabbed a handful of colorful markers and spread out a big sheet of paper on the table. "Let us make a community poster to get everyone excited about the event." Lily's face lit up as she dove into the task, her tiny hands quickly grabbing the markers. "I want to draw the cars." She giggled, her enthusiasm infectious. Ryan watched her for a moment, shaking his head with a grin. "You've got a little artist on your hands, Tom. She'll become a master illustrator of vintage cars before you know it." "Yeah, she is already better than me," Tom chuckled, but inwardly, he felt a lack of authenticity to the laughter. His heart still raced at the thought of the diner and Jamie's ominous message. As they worked, Tom cast a fleeting glance at his phone, worried that Jamie would send a follow-up that would disrupt their joyful moment. Just then, the familiar tune of the doorbell rang, echoing through the workshop. "Who could that be?" Ryan asked, raising an eyebrow. Tom walked to the door, just as excitement flickered across Lily's face. "Maybe it's someone else wanting to help." He opened the door to find Mrs. Holtz, the neighborhood's beloved grandmotherly figure, standing there with a basket of treats. "Evening, Tom. Thought I'd drop by with some cookies for your bake-off. I know how much everyone loves them." "Mrs. Holtz. You're a lifesaver," Tom exclaimed, the warmth in her presence momentarily easing his anxiety. She stepped inside, her warmth flooding the workshop like the evening light. Lily dashed over, her eyes wide with delight. "Can I help you, Mrs. Holtz?" "I can help sort them." "Of course, my dear." She smiled, her voice dripping with kindness. The two quickly sank into a conversation about sugar cookies, and for a moment, Tom drowned in the laughter that emanated from them. Watching them, he felt a sense of normalcy settle into his chest. This was what mattered, these connections and moments, but the diner still nagged at him like a hidden storm on the horizon. "Thanks for bringing these, Mrs. Holtz," Tom said, glancing at the cookies as they filled the table. "You really made the day brighter." But before she could respond, the sharp buzz of his phone drove the joy from the room. Flinching, Tom fished it out of his pocket. The screen glimmered with Jamie's name again, and a pit formed in his stomach. "I need to take this," he said hurriedly, crossing to a quieter corner, hoping to remain composed. "Is everything okay?" Ryan called after him, curiosity etched on his face. "Yeah, just a sec," Tom replied, forcing confidence into his voice as he swiped to open the message. "Where are you, Tom? It's important. I'll be waiting." His hands trembled slightly. This tension and responsibility settled heavily on his shoulders. He turned back toward the workshop, where laughter still danced like rays of sunlight. "Dad?" Lily's voice cut through his thoughts, pure and innocent. "Are we going to be okay? You seem far away." I'm fine, kiddo. Just got some adult stuff," he said, trying to sound reassuring, but he could hear the hesitation in his own words. "Okay." She smiled, blissfully unaware of his turmoil. Yet, the storm within him raged on, tearing at his heartstrings. "Just give me a minute," he whispered to himself, clenching his fists. He had to know what Jamie wanted, but there was an unsettling voice in his head suggesting that this could threaten everything they built together. Rubbing his temples, he prepared to leave. Now more than ever, he had to confront the truth before it could unravel their plans. A sense of dread coursed through him as he stepped back, the echoes of laughter fading behind him. What shadowy secrets awaited him at the diner that could change their lives forever? The night air settled around Tom as he stepped outside, the chill wrapping around him like a heavy blanket. The distant sounds of laughter from the workshop faded into a haunting silence. He pulled up his jacket collar and glanced down at his phone screen one more time. The message taunted him, heavy with meaning that he felt ill-equipped to unpack. "Where are you, Tom? It's important. I'll be waiting." Those words replayed in his mind. He swallowed hard, the pit in his stomach tightening further. Jamie never contacted him unless it was absolutely critical or urgent. He braced himself, imagining the confrontations he could face at the diner. As he approached the familiar building, the neon sign flickered, casting an almost ghostly glow onto the sidewalk. The lively chatter of patrons inside seemed worlds away, a stark contrast to his feelings of dread. Taking a deep breath, Tom pushed the door open and was hit with the smell of coffee and fried food. It was a comfort he had known for years, yet it now felt foreign. "Hey, Tom!" A voice called out. It was Mike, the cook, wiping his hands on a towel as he caught a glimpse of his friend. "Thought we'd see you here. You coming for that special tonight?" "Yeah, I'm just looking for Jamie," Tom replied, forcing a smile. But inside, butterflies danced wildly. As he scanned the room, he spotted Jamie sitting alone in a booth at the back, her fingers drumming nervously on the tabletop. She seemed far away, lost in thought, and a wave of anxiety washed over him as he made his way through the busy diner. "Tom," she greeted softly, her voice barely lifting above the clamor around them. A flicker of something, was it fear? Crossed her face. "Thanks for coming. Is everything okay?" he asked, sliding into the booth across from her. "It's complicated. I didn't know how else to get your attention," she hesitated, her eyes darting to the floor. "Just tell me," Tom urged, worry clawing at his heart. "What's going on? You made it sound urgent." She took a deep breath, locking eyes with him. "Remember that investor we talked about? The one who might want to back the community project?" His heartbeat quickened. "Yeah, of course." He had second thoughts. He looking for someone with a stronger connection to the community, a personal connection. She paused, biting her lip. "Tom, he wants you to get involved." "Me?" The word barely escaped his lips. He felt the weight of implications pressing down on him. "Why me? I'm just a dad trying to do his best." "Exactly. That's what he's looking for," she rushed to explain. "He needs to see someone who's self-invested in this place, who cares about the people." "You're a natural fit, Tom." He shook his head, disbelief flooding in. "I don't know if I can handle that. I've got Lily to think about and I'm already stretched too thin." "Tom, this could change everything for us. For the community. You could really make a difference," she pleaded, her eyes shimmering with hope. At that moment, Tom felt the weight of possibility, gripping his heart with both hope and fear. The life they had, the close-knit community he had built around Lily, all hung in the balance. He opened his mouth to respond, but his phone buzzed again, rattling against the table. Before he could stop himself, he held it up, another message from Jamie. "I'll be waiting, don't let this opportunity slip away." "Tom?" Jamie's voice broke through his thoughts. "What do you think?" And just as he prepared to respond, he noticed a familiar face in the crowd, someone whose presence sent a chill of recognition deep into his bones. Could this be the very twist that changed everything? He took a breath, heart pounding. I need a moment." The weight of everything collided in that instant, leaving him wondering if he could ever find his way back to the laughter in the workshop, to normalcy, or if this moment would change the course of their lives forever. What voice in the shadows threatened to further unravel his plans for the future? Tom's gaze remained locked on the figure weaving through the diner, a shadow of his past pulling at him with an urgency he couldn't ignore. The face lurked in his memory like an uninvited whisper, stirring emotions he thought he had buried deep. He glanced back at Jamie, her eyes pleading for him to choose this moment to embark on something greater. He started, his voice visible only in the weight that hung between them. Tom, she pressed gently. Please. This could be the change we need. But the figure coming closer interrupted his thoughts, pulling him away from Jamie's hopeful plea. It was Alex, someone he had not seen in years. Alex, with whom everything had once been easy and uncomplicated, a friend who had once shared laughter without reservation, who had known him before everything got complicated. Tom? Is that you? Alex called, an unmistakable grin lighting up his face, but with a hint of apprehension. I didn't expect to find you here. Yeah, just catching up with Jamie, Tom replied, forcing himself to sound casual. But the heartache of seeing Alex brought forth a flood of memories, bits and pieces of a life he once led, one filled with dreams that looked so bright before reality set in. Alex's eyes darted between Tom and Jamie, reading something in their dynamic that made him pause. Hope I'm not interrupting anything important. No, it's fine, Jamie assured him, but Tom could see the hint of annoyance flicker behind her determined eyes. She shifted in her seat, frustration bubbling under her composure, wanting to get to the point but being sidelined by Tom's ghost. Tom swallowed hard. Here he was, about to decide on a monumental moment for himself and for his town, and now his past was intruding like an unwarranted guest at a feast. So, what have you been up to? Alex asked, the casual tone failing to hide the scrutiny beneath it. I just got off work. It's been. Tom hesitated, searching for the right words. Busy. Alex gestured toward the full diner, his smile wavering slightly. I hope it's going well. Heard there might be some changes coming your way. Good changes? Tom met Jamie's eyes again, her urgency ringing in his mind. She needed him to act. Yeah, something like that, he finally answered, feeling the weight of his indecision crush him. But right now, can we talk about this later? Jamie's voice broke through, sharp yet tender, her eyes blazing with determination. Tom, we were just discussing an opportunity. Alex's brow furrowed, concern creeping in. What opportunity? Tom felt cornered, with pieces of his life colliding at this one table. The dichotomy of his present and past was almost dizzying. An investor wants to back a community project, Jamie said, her voice firm. And Tom has a chance to lead it. The silence that followed was thick with tension. Everyone in the diner seemed to pause, the laughter and chatter fading into the background. Alex's surprise morphed into something deeper, a flicker of disbelief mixed with admiration. Wow, that's big. You should take it, Tom. Not that easy, he muttered, his heart racing. He felt the ball of pressure still lodged in his throat, a tangled knot of fear and excitement battling for dominance. Tom, you have to understand. This is a chance for everything, Jamie pressed. He looked down at the table, at his hands that had built Lily's dreams around him. The very thing he feared most was now staring him in the face, a chance to step up or retreat back into the shadows. Do you really think I can do this? He finally asked, the question barely above a whisper, as if speaking it too loud might shatter the fragile hope. Absolutely, she affirmed, her eyes fierce. But just as hope started to blossom, an incoming text vibrated on the table again. He picked up the phone, and his heart sank as he read the words, a new and unexpected message from someone far beyond their circle. Tom, we need to talk. It's about Lily. His world tipped on its axis, a new layer of tension layered over the existing turmoil. Who was that? Jamie asked, her voice suddenly laced with concern. Tom's mind raced. There was too much to unravel, and he felt like he was teetering on the edge of a decision that could change everything, not just for him, but for Lily, for Jamie, and for the community he loved. Let me answer this first, he said, looking back at the screen. As the weight of his choices loomed larger, Tom realized there were no easy answers, just looming decisions that could set them on paths he may not be ready to follow. But could he keep running, or was it time to face the truth? What lay beyond this moment was a mystery he could no longer afford to ignore. Tom sat rigidly in the booth, the weight of the world pressing down on his shoulders. The messages that illuminated his phone screen felt like chains tightening around him, binding him between obligations, expectations, and the fierce love he held for Lily. Tom. Jamie's voice cut through his thoughts, laced with urgency. What are you going to do? He looked from her to Alex, who studied him with a mix of support and concern. The diner buzzed around them, people laughing, enjoying their meals, while Tom felt as if he were suspended in a vacuum, time stretching impossibly long out. He took a deep breath, trying to steady his heart. I need to see what's going on with Lily, he said, his voice steady. If anything could drive him to clarity, it was his daughter. Can you give me a moment? Jamie nodded, though her eyes betrayed her worry. She watched him leave the booth, feeling her heart sink, but this moment was his to claim a pivotal point to reclaim the life he was desperate to build for Lily. Tom stepped outside into the chilly night air, a cool breeze brushing against his cheeks, offering some clarity. He punched the screen of his phone, opening the message that felt like an errant thundercloud looming over him. Tom, we need to talk. It's about Lily. Panic surged through him. What could be wrong? He thought as he dialed the number. It connected almost immediately. Tom, came a voice he recognized. It was Sarah, Lily's teacher. I'm glad you picked up. I just wanted to chat with you about Lily. She has been a bit distracted lately, and I'm concerned it might be affecting her. Distracted? In what way? Tom's heart raced as he listened intently. She seems preoccupied with things going on at home. She's worried about you. The weight seems heavy for a child her age. I think she could really use your reassurance. His stomach plummeted. His daughter, facing her own fears while he grappled with his. I didn't realize. I thought I was insulating her from all this. This is about vulnerability, Tom, Sarah continued gently. Kids need to know that it's okay to feel and express their emotions. You can't always protect her, but you can let her in. He nodded, though she couldn't see him. That's it. They were in this together. Thank you for letting me know, Tom said, steeling himself. I'll talk to her tonight. Sarah's voice softened. She loves you, Tom. Don't forget that. As he hung up, clarity pierced through the storm of doubt swirling inside. He wasn't just a mechanic, he was a father, a bridge to a future filled with strength and connection. With newfound resolve, Tom walked back into the diner, where Jamie and Alex were deep in conversation. He could feel the heat of their anticipation, but his heart pulsed strong and steady now. Hey, he said, gaining their attention, I'm in. Alex broke into a grin, while Jamie looked surprised but hopeful. What does that mean? I'm ready to take the lead on this community project. But Tom hesitated, feeling the gravity of the decision wash over him. I want to do it for Lily, for us, and for the community as a whole. That's what I wanted to hear. Jamie beamed, relief flooding her features. Let us grab some coffee and plot this out. But before they could move forward, Tom felt a tug on his heart, a reminder of Lily, their connection. One more thing, he said. I need to involve the kids, like Lily. This is as much about them as it is about us. They need a hand in building what we create. Yes. Jamie replied, her enthusiasm infectious. Alex interjected, already thinking ahead. Absolutely. A community project led by the community? That's how we get them to come out, to be a part of this. The three started brainstorming ideas, laughter and camaraderie replacing the tension that once hung heavy in the air. They discussed games, music, crafts, involving families, and tying it all back to the simpler joys that people craved. As they sketched out plans, Tom felt the shift within himself. The storm had lifted. Perhaps facing his fears head-on was the only way to overcome them, not just for him, but for Lily, for the community, and for the dreams they all held deep inside. Eventually, Tom checked the time, rising from the booth. I need to get home. Lily deserves to know what's happening, that we're in this together, and that it's okay to feel. As he stepped outside, a sense of warmth filled him. Overhead, the stars twinkled brightly against the night sky, each shining like a reawakening of hopes buried under layers of self-doubt. With every step toward home, he reflected on the struggles that brought him to this moment. He realized they were not obstacles anymore, but stepping stones, each with a lesson, each a part of their journey. When Tom walked through the door to their small house, he found Lily sitting there, crayons scattered across the table, her drawing midway through. Maudlin, yet hopeful. "Hey, sweetie," he said, his heart swelling as he crossed the room. "Can we talk?" Lily looked up, her eyes wide. "About what?" "About our plans. I want to share and include you in everything." Her smile lit up the dim room like morning sun. "Really?" "Yeah, I want us to build this together," he continued, kneeling beside her. "I want you to know you aren't alone in this. I'm right here with you, always." As Lily leaned in for a hug, Tom felt an overwhelming wave of love wash over him. They were both ready for this new chapter, a chapter filled with resilience, laughter, community, and the warmth of a home built on love. Meanwhile, in the diner, Jamie watched as Tom had stepped into the light of his decision. Alex joined her, leaning over. "What do you think?" Jamie smiled. "I think they'll be just fine." As the excitement buzzed back in the diner, hope blossomed anew, a reminder that change was in the air. Join us in this uplifting journey. You need to subscribe now to stay updated on the next adventures. Leave a like now to show your love and support, because every like counts. Share your thoughts and feelings about this heartwarming ending in the comments. And don't wait not even one more second to share this story with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let us build a community.